Ladies and gentlemen, please join on stage Dion Weisler. Thank you for coming. So, not only do we have two HP CEOs today, or within a few weeks, two HP CEOs, but also now we know we're with the best swimmer of the two CEOs.
Is that what she said?
Meg said she's the best swimmer.
Figure.
And
No.
you've swum all over the world together.
We have swum all over the world together. It's a lot of fun. In fact, we get each other out of trouble because when I started swimming in the US, I had to get used to swimming the opposite direction because where I come from, we swim on the right side of the lane. They don't. And so we're in the UK.
That's because you were down on the bottom of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Things go
around
around the other way. And so we're in the UK and we sort of jump in the pool together and we're swimming and we get to the end and there's one other person in the lane. Meg turns to me and she says, "It's a real problem here. You know, this person doesn't know the etiquette of swimming. She's swimming in the wrong direction." I said, "Meg, we're in the UK. It goes the other way." So it's all good. We get each other out of trouble.
Yeah, it's quite a thing, though, to have two of you at international level swimming or national swimming. Anyway, I'm going to give you an easy question to start with.
Excellent.
We heard from Meg this morning about the separation. What advantages will it give to you to be running an independent company come November the 1st?
Yeah, look, as I'm sure Meg explained this morning, it's amazing that embedded within $110 billion organisation is almost two Fortune 50 companies. In a market that is operating at breathtaking speed, and indeed the customer sets are diverging and the investment choices that we had to make as a leadership team were very challenging. I mean, think about what Meg did. She inherited a business here that was about $12 billion in debt, and various parts of the business have been underinvested in for many years. And as a leadership team, we sat there and we said, you know, well, there's a need for X number of dollars of investment, but there is X minus Y available for investing. And we almost did a triage type process in order to determine where we would invest and a pace and sequence in which we would do it. And relatively speaking, Printing and Personal Systems was in better shape. So as a result of that, even though Printing and Personal Systems was generating a lot of cash, we would inject that into other parts of the business that needed more help faster. And so what I think separation does for us is gives us really a maniacal focus on only the Printing and Personal Systems business. We get to think about investing in this business. We get to take the entire time of the board. Imagine being a board member of HPQ. You have to think about everything from a phablet all the way up to a superdome and everything in between. So the amount of time you get just from the board of directors is split amongst so many things. I met with my new board in Boston a couple of weeks ago, and we sat there for a day and we talked about one topic in great depth, which was actually 3D printing. I'm sure we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will.
And you know, to have that kind of attention is really quite remarkable. So we're incredibly enthusiastic about the opportunity that presents to us, the ability to focus in on our business exclusively, to be able to be more agile, to tune our business in accordance with the markets in which we serve, and innovate at a pace that you know, I think is worthy in what is two very large markets, both Printing and Personal Systems.
But as we discussed with the Lenovo chaps, PC market's not been very good this year.
Yep.
First of all, what's your expectations for the next 6 months, 12 months?
You know, we're fickle in this business, and I know many of the faces around the room here have known you all for quite a long time. This business has gone through cycles and ups and downs. Back in 2013, you'll remember that everyone thought the PC was dead. You know, PC's dead, printing's dead, and everyone was all but writing our obituary. And then 2014 comes along, the market does that. There's an XP refresh cycle, and you know, some of the markets around the world were actually quite buoyant, and things were going swimmingly well. And then that catches up with you, so the XP refresh cycle put about a 4-point headwind on 15 alone, and then you had these just massive currency swings, particularly in this part of the world, which any way you look at it will drive down demand because you're increasing a price point, 1 or 2 price brackets. So, you know, if you're buying something for £199, that's now $249 or $299, and that impacts demand, and we've seen that across this year. And I think as we start lapping that, and as currency has begun to stabilise, as Gianfranco mentioned earlier. I think 2016 will be a better year. We don't wildly disagree with the analysts that sort of predict between now and 2020 about a 2% on average decline. But within the averages is growth pockets, and I think it's dangerous to get caught up in averages. You can have one foot on a boiling hot stove and the other foot in an ice cold bucket of water, and on average you're fairly comfortable. But in this business it's about segmentation, about understanding where growth is and where the heat in the market is and how you're going to anticipate that and where you're going to go. So we see that part of the market still troubled for the next several quarters to come as inventory is digested across the industry. We think Windows 10 is a very important operating system. I'm sure we'll get to that as well. And in printing, same sorts of trends that we're seeing overall. But above the PC itself is services and support, which is growing, accessories and attach, workstations, thin clients, services and solutions. All of those things in aggregate are actually growing at 9%. So there is opportunity, one, through consolidation, and I broadly kind of agree with the comments made earlier, as well as sort of above the box areas for growth for all of us.
I would have thought once you become an independent company, you have to release results every quarter. Your challenge will be delivering some revenue growth. You're going to be under big pressure. Where's the growth going to come from?
Well, I think we've been pretty explicit, and I'm right in the middle of our investor roadshows at the moment. These are wonderful things to do, by the way, if you're ever after entertainment. Spending all day, every day with the investors, 7 in a row, and treating every one of them like a first date is a lot of fun. But I think broadly speaking with the investment community, we've been very articulate. We explained that there are parts of our business in secular decline, and there's parts of the business that represent growth. We've articulated our business across 3 vectors. We see our core being the vast majority of our $55 billion of revenue and approximately $5 billion of operating profit. And there's puts and takes in there. There's parts of the market that are in decline, other parts of the market. It's like driving a manual car up a very steep San Francisco hill trying to change gear. And so that's what we have to grapple with in our core. Next to our core, we see growth opportunities in natural adjacencies. A great example is the A3 copier market. We're leaders in the A4 printer market. The A4 copier market, which is just as large, they're both $55 billion businesses. In one we have over 40% market share, in the other we have 5% market share. There's kind of something wrong with that picture. And we think there's technology that we can pull across from our core to go tackle that $55 billion business. Just imagine if we went from 5% market share to 15, we'd add $5 billion of top line revenue. That's margin accretive.
That would be great, yes. Is that what you're promising the investors?
Sorry? Yes, we are, but we're putting it on a realistic time frame. Those products won't come out till 2017. There's a lot of research and development that goes into it. But we're sort of saying we're going to operate in the core, temper the expectation. There's growth opportunities. Commercial mobility is another one. Our graphics business, you saw those big wraps on the video there. Our graphics business is growing almost double digits consistently every single quarter. So there's growth there. And then there's the future, the things around immersive computing and 3D printing. So we're giving them a realistic time frame. We're not going to turn the switches on the 1st of November and all of a sudden we're in double-digit growth. But there is a clear strategy that links the realistic market today with the potential for the future.
So let's do the 3D printing question.
Sure.
When can the channel have them?
So we've been very consistent with our messaging on 3D printing, and I know you teased it out, I think, of Meg. I think it was in Thailand.
I was trying to encourage a bit of speed.
You were encouraging her, and she actually got off stage. She called me. She goes, "Oops, I think I said something I wasn't meant to say." And I've been consistent in this message that we would not get into 3D printing until we could solve the fundamental problems that we believe have held the industry back, and that's speed, quality, and cost. And it's not until you can have a proposition for the customer that rivals traditional manufacturing in the realms of speed, quality, and cost that you will ever transform a market. All transformation happens through breakthrough innovation. And the 3D printing market is nothing new. There's a lot of hype around it, but it's been a market for many years, 20 years. But it's still only a $5 billion market today. It's tiny. And depending on which analyst you ask, it'll be somewhere between, 30 billion and 80 billion by 2020. The answer to the question lies in...
We have a lot of research on
I'm
the 3D
sure you
printing
do.
market.
I'm sure you do.
I'll share it with you later.
Thank you for that. It's up to us to disrupt that market. So we are broadly on track. We said we would launch products in 2016. We will do with our first 5 major partners around the world, customers, where we intend to learn a lot in the beginning of the second half, so our third quarter of 2016. And then it'll be broadly available in the fourth quarter of 2016.
Okay, so this time next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
But very clearly in the commercial space. Don't expect us to play in consumer. That's not where the market or the money is. So this is a market for production and for prototyping. That's where all the growth is. The consumer market is, wonderful, and other players will address that market. That's not where we intend to be.
Okay. Now, the other question I have to ask you about the Surface.
Yep.
We heard Marius' answer.
Yeah, I thought it was a good answer. Good job, Marius. Listen, and I think there's elements that John Franco said as well. At the end of the day, is Microsoft a competitor? Are they a partner? Of course, they're both. This is actually not unusual to us. If you would, some of you that have been working with us, and many of you in the room here have been working with us for a very long time, our printing business, the laser side of our printing business, we've been a close partner with Canon for now 31 years. I think it's the longest American-Japanese alliance of all time, and it runs very deep and very rich on multiple levels, and we are intrinsically linked. Their success is our success. They're a fierce competitor in ink every single day. We partner in laser and we compete in ink. And we even compete with them in laser. It doesn't mean that we can't make that partnership work, and we have been doing so for 31 years. So one, we know how to do it. Microsoft is nowhere near the same sort of complexity of that relationship. And I would at least applaud Terry Myerson, who runs Windows. I mean, he sat there and he said, holy crap, probably is what he said to himself. Holy crap, I used to have 95, 96% market share, and now I have substantially less. And it's not about my operating system, it's about the applications. And if I can't attract app developers to come onto my platform, then I can make the best operating system in the world. It really doesn't make any difference. It's all about the apps. And if you're an app developer, you're sitting there saying, okay, well, I'm going to go to where the money is, and the money is a device, a socket. So I'm going to, Terry's sitting there saying, I'm going to get as many sockets out there as possible. And I need to get into, I understand this world of mobility, and I understand this world of a fixed domain and the complexity of the task. And there's all this, at the time, Android activity going on, and in the tablet space, and Microsoft didn't really have a position there. Now, if you go back and calculate how much they have spent on Surface, my back-of-the-envelope math is about $2 billion between inventory write-offs on Surface 1 and Surface 2, and the advertising they've spent on Surface 3, they spent $2 billion. Would I spend $2 billion creating Windows Surface-type category? No way. Is Michael Dell going to do it? Well, he didn't do it either, and neither did Huawei or John Franco. We don't create those kind of categories on behalf of somebody else. So they kind of said, all right, we think it's important, we're going to develop it. They did, good on them for doing it. Surface 1, not so great. Surface 2, not so great. Surface 3, a nice product. And I think Mario said it as well, there's customer pull. These are customers that we have been working with for many, many years. And we don't simply want to cede those relationships to a competitor. So we said, all right, if there is real customer choice for us to manage their products, then we'll participate in that. Our salespeople won't get paid unless they're working with you to sell our products. Now, Terry knows that. It's fine. And we will sell and service and support Surface if the customer absolutely insists on it, but that is not our first preference.
Okay, but the danger is by helping Microsoft establish itself as a PC provider, hardware provider, they'll get more and more greedy and more competitive. And last night we saw the launch of the Surface Book. Surely you're just helping them build a train that's going to take away business from you.
Look, insofar as they are creating demand for $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 devices, that's goodness for all of us. We used to do this all day, every day. We were selling PCs for $2,500 years ago. And then we're in this unbelievable race to the bottom of the $149 PC. I don't think that was good for us. I certainly don't think it was good for you. To bring average selling prices back up to where they used to be is goodness. You know, they've released a product and, you know, we're all digesting what they've done 24 hours ago. That plays between $1,500 and $2,500. My mental math in that segment is about 1% of the overall consumer market. Okay, if they're going to create excitement in that segment of the market, good. I think we can do a better job. I think we've been doing hardware for 30 years. We know how to do hardware. They've been doing software for a long time. They're new to hardware. It's a very different business. It runs on a different cadence, a different cycle. But if they're pulling the market up, back up to $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, that's great for all of us.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how many they sell. Even 1% would be a big result if they got 1% of the PC market at that price point. Let's move back to sort of these questions and move on to different topics.
Sure.
Can you clarify the relationship HP Inc. with HPE, particularly where it relates to partnering? I mean, the obvious thing that's missing in your portfolio now is servers.
Sure. Listen, we've been very clear as Meg and I set up both of these companies that we've established very clear swim lanes where we will play and where they will play, and we think that we've gone from a single car garage to a two-car garage, the kind of analogy. The relationships between the two companies are incredibly close. We've been together for a very long time. In many cases, we'll still operate in the same buildings. You know, press floor 4 or floor 5 and you're going to have these two companies together, and those relationships are really important. At the top, Meg and I are trying to ensure that pulls its way through the organisation. In reality, I think it's going to fester from within because these relationships are so strong. So we will have all of the mechanics to make sure that we are passing opportunities to each other as we uncover them. We've established processes internally that Meg and I will frequently meet a couple of times a quarter to work through opportunities that we jointly see in the marketplace. You know, clearly, I'm focused on printing and personal systems, and she's got a tremendous portfolio.
But you'll also be judged on the performance of the print and PCs.
Absolutely.
And so if it makes sense to partner with Cisco to achieve that, you should do that. Well,
our first preference always will be to go to Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Yeah. And it's the same, you know, if we are working on a large outsourcing opportunity and you know, it seems ripe for the picking for enterprise services within Meg's portfolio, that's the first place we're going to go. Now, does it mean that we can't work with other systems integrators? Of course not, and we intend to do that because enterprise services have got very clear areas that they want to focus on, and there's other areas where they don't participate, and that's going to provide opportunity for us to expand our business.
Okay. Another question here, but I'm not quite sure this is true, but the question says HP is getting more and more aggressive selling direct through the online shop. More campaigns, lower prices, and it's very hard to compete with.
Yeah, look, the reality is that's not, you know, from a factual perspective, it's not correct. Our online or HP.com is a very small component of our overall business. Broadly speaking, 80% of our business is conducted with or through the channel, and that I expect to continue or even grow in the future. HP.com is an important vehicle for showcasing our complete range of products, and some customers will choose to purchase through HP.com. We don't expect that to be a place that discounts and drives, you know, price non-equilibrium inside the marketplace, but it is part of the omni-channel.
I did say, yeah, the question was incorrect in its assertion, but someone's got the wrong impression there.
Yep.
I think so too, yeah. Okay, And then the next question, hopefully this one's true. Why will HP Inc. change the compensation scheme again to target-based? Is that correct?
Actually, we don't plan to broadly change our partner program. We will move to a new name. It'll be called Partner First. We'll look to fine-tune that to be even more focused on printing and personal systems. Obviously, whenever you do something in a $110 billion organisation, you have the opportunity to optimise it. As you know, we focus on our business and Meg focuses on her business. We still remain committed to paying off the first dollar, so it's more of a fine-tuning than an overhaul of the program.
And actually, Josh Brenkel, who runs the global channel for Dion's business, is doing a breakout session on that topic tomorrow morning. I can't confirm the exact time, but he'll probably go into that detail. Another question here about your strengths in the printer and MFP market.
Yep.
What are your USPs?
Look, I'm really proud of what the team's done. If you roll the clock back 3 years ago, we had the most aged portfolio of MFPs in the market, and our share results reflected that. And it's an incredibly important part of the market because MFPs produce more pages than any other type of product, and generally speaking, they produce more colour pages, which is more profitable for us and more profitable for our partners. As a result of that, over the course of the last 2 years, we released more than 16 products in the MFP range, and we've gone from a non-leadership position into a leadership position. So it's doing really well. There's a lot of USPs built into the product, more than we could cover inside a very short period of time here. But I encourage you, if you're not familiar with the MFP range, to get with your local partner business manager and talk through that. But really an incredible portfolio, really focused around security, all of the features that are required inside an MFP, but sort of vaulting it, because in many cases, the printer is the Trojan horse on the network. And as an IT company, we've been really focused on ensuring that we bolt that down.
And we'll jump topics a little bit, but you have phablets in some emerging markets.
Yep.
What about the HP and phones in EMEA?
So I've been asked about phones for the last 3 years, and for the last 3 years my answer's been consistently the same. We don't plan to get into, broadly speaking, the consumer phone business. We service it in a couple of key emerging markets where we have incredible brand equity. India's a great example of that, where we could design a phone specifically for that market, but broad-based around the world. We're not really in the phone business, in the consumer space. In the commercial space, we are in the phablet market. We think that there is interesting technology going on there. Again, we don't want to be a phone provider. That's a tough business. Two players have, I think, 110% of the overall profit of the industry, which means everybody else is losing money. There's much better things to invest our cash in that we generate that will translate to profitable business for us and for you than the consumer phone business.
Okay, good. We're getting loads of questions coming in. We're not going to be able to ask them all, but this is quite an interesting one. If a partner wants to sell a device as a service, do you have any ways to support that?
Sure. So we see it, and when I talked at the security analyst meeting a couple of weeks ago, we're placing a very significant emphasis on building our services and solutions capability. We're clearly seeing in the market a swing from transactional motions to contractual motions. Transactional motions are contracting at about 3%, and contractual motions are growing at about 3%. So it's a 6-point spread between the two. We already have built together with you a large managed print service practice, but increasingly every CIO, every CEO that I speak with says, well, I want everything as a service. I want mobility as a service. I want PC as a service. Everything you do, give it to me as a service. Not that they're not strategic, because the device is still an important element, and printing is an important element of what they do, but it's not strategic for them to manage. And if we can do a better job, a more economical job for them, then they would like us to do that. As a result of that, we started a services and solutions division, both at the sort of factory level where we productize things, as well as at the region level where our folks are only paid when they sell services and solutions together with you. Because if you don't do that, if it's just embedded in your generalist sales force, the sales force gets lost in, you know, I've got to make my order load this week, or I've got to do this or that and the other, but they don't really get into the solution selling part of the market that's incredibly important. So we're sort of working at the product level as well as at the go-to-market level.
Okay, I don't know if you've read the next question, but it says, you recently made a private pilot license.
Is that so? Go figure. Yes, I did.
How did you find the time?
Well, you need to make time
Yeah.
to do things that you want to do, and I'm a firm believer in that. You know, you can always make excuses why you can't do things, and if you want to do something, then you should make the time to do it. Sleep is overrated, and it was something I wanted to do for a long time, but it doesn't take away from everything that I have to do in my life.
You fly two-seaters or you fly jets or?
No, I fly little general aviation planes.
Okay, very good.
And the question is?
The question's pretty clever actually. HP today is an Airbus 380 with two passenger decks. After the split we will see two different types of aircraft. What type of aircraft have you selected for HP Inc. on the 1st of November?
So I actually don't think about it in the context of aviation. The way I think we've characterised it is we've gone from a single car garage to a two-car garage.
Yeah.
And there's an important difference because we still remain sort of under one roof. We've got an ecosystem that we've developed, and whilst we are clearly two separate, independently, publicly listed companies, there's a lot of commonality between us. Even our headquarters is kind of shared. You know, Jack and Jill went up the hill, I went up the hill, Meg stayed down the hill. But we're on the same campus, and that's the same sort of around the world. So we think about this one car to two car garage analogy as a much more befitting analogy to describe what we're doing. And you know, in terms of what does our half of the garage look like, you know, I think it's an exciting place to be. I think the video sort of characterised that we have the heart and the energy of a startup, and that's really how I think our people are thinking about this, but the brains and muscle of a Fortune 100 company. And it's those two ingredients that I think are really powerful, because startups have a wonderful energy about them. They have a sort of can-do attitude that we kind of want to get out there and make it happen and really get focused on what we want to do. But you know, sometimes they don't have the collective wisdom of time and history. We have that as well. We're a business at scale. We generate, you know, $3 billion of cash every year, $5 billion of operating profit, and that gives us a tremendous ability to invest in our business, but do it with that sort of heart and energy of a startup. You
prefer to be the CEO of HP or CEO of HPI? Which title are we going to use?
I am all in for HP Inc. I think we have an incredible future.
But will we call it HP or HPI?
It's HP. I mean, the official name of the company is HP Inc. So if you go to, do a search, it'll operate under the HPQ ticker tape, because in the US we are RemainCo, and in Europe the reverse is true. We are in most countries SpinCo. And we did that for appropriate tax reasons around the world. But if you were to look us up, it would be HP Inc. But the blue logo, HP, what you all know and the world has known for 75 years, is the humbling responsibility that we have as we move forward to be the custodians of.
And the final question now, and we're going to have to wrap up. Your new marketing chief is going to be investing in that brand, taking it forward?
Sure, he sure is. I think that was a tremendous video, and it shows his creativity. If you start to see some of the work that Antonio is putting out, Antonio Lucio joins us from Visa, where he was the chief marketing officer. He has a rich history in marketing. One of the most respected marketers, I think, in the world. He did amazing work at PepsiCo, as well as Procter & Gamble for many years. So he's a true marketer. He brings a great new energy to our marketing efforts around the world. We will be investing in that brand. It's an incredibly iconic, powerful brand all over the world, and it's a brand that we take very seriously.
Okay, and then just last couple of minutes to say a few words to the audience.
So I guess before I let you go to the bio break, this is really a long time between drinks. I can't wait to get out of here into the bathroom. But I've got to say thank you to all of you. This was an incredibly amazing journey that we've been on. Over exactly 1 year and 1 day ago, we announced the separation of these two companies. And there are a lot of naysayers out there that said, this would be a terribly difficult thing to do. It would impact our business. We wouldn't be able to ship. I mean, we heard it all. And I think this is HP at its finest. The ability to separate these two companies and be functioning on the 1st of November, really without skipping a beat, is a testament not only to the can-do attitude of the people within HP, but it's a testament to the amazing relationship that we have with the channel, because this could not have been done without the incredible work, close work that we did together with the channel. So thank you for your participation in setting up both these companies for success. I think they have tremendous platforms. We've made, over the years, a lot of money together, and I expect that we will continue to do that in the future as both of these companies springboard off to new and dizzy heights. So thank you for your continued loyalty. We don't take it for granted. We know we have to earn it every single day. Thank you for pulling the channel together. These are terrific programs now all over the world, and I remember the first one we did back in Asia together. But thank you for your participation. Thank you for your partnership, and look forward to a great 2016 and beyond with you.
Great. Thank you very much, Dion Weisler. Thank you.